Gymnastics Canada is also in the spotlight after calls for an independent investigation into claims of physical and sexual abuse. That prompted the federal government to freeze its funding. It won't be restored until Gymnastics Canada signs on with the new Office of Sport Integrity. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said the organization needs to reassure parents and participants it is committed to change.
We've made clear requests of Gymnastics Canada and others for more transparency, to sign on to accountability measures, because yes, we need to continue supporting sports, and there's so many great volunteers across the country contributing to young people being able to stay healthy and in sports, but we need to make sure we're doing it in a safe way, and we're going to continue making sure that as a government and working with other orders of government, we are pushing for changes that make sure that our kids are kept safe.
All national sport organizations are being asked to accept oversight by the new Integrity Commissioner. The office started looking into complaints last month. So for more on this, we are joined now by Ian Moss. He is the CEO of Gymnastics Canada. We've reached him in Ottawa. So Ian, first, I do want your reaction to the federal government's decision to suspend funding to Gymnastics Canada.
Yeah, thank you, Arthi, for giving me the opportunity to be on the call today. And obviously, like the Minister and the government, we are fully committed to signing on to the new independent complaint mechanism and working very quickly through the agreement process. So we're in constant contact with the Minister, and we're fully aware of her concerns, and we have the same concerns. So we are fully prepared to move ahead with that agreement as soon as we can.
In terms of an independent investigation, where does the organization stand on that? It's been something that's been called for months.
Yeah, it's correct. And obviously, you know, we in gymnastics worldwide know that there are issues in this sport, and that we do have to affect cultural change. We as leaders in the sport are fully aware of that and are prepared to do that. And that's why recently we have announced a partnership with the McLaren Group, who have a very strong track record in terms of both investigation and analysis and cultural adjustment methodology. So we're fully committed to changing the way that we've done gymnastics, not only in Canada, but around the world.
So what are the first few steps that you intend on taking now that freezing has been funded? Or funding has been frozen, rather?
That's fine. Well, obviously, the first priority is to make sure that we can continue on with our programming for our athletes. And you know, we are now back from COVID, so we are competing once again. And I can assure all our athletes and coaches that we remain committed to that support. We obviously do have an ability financially to keep that going, but having said that, we, of course, want to stay on the good side of government and Sport Canada, and we are doing everything to ensure that any restrictions or concerns about our funding are alleviated very quickly.
You know, you mentioned staying on the good side of government. What about staying on the good side of those who are making these allegations, who say that they've endured abuse, have been calling for investigations to be done? What about, being on the good side of those individuals as well?
It's a very fair point, obviously. Of course, I'm well aware of this group that are demanding significant changes in our culture and looking for external investigations of our history. We have been leaders in dealing with complaints around abuse and maltreatment. Obviously, we've done our best in the circumstances that we are in. We hope to do more. We should be doing more. We do our best to do everything we can. So we are in alignment with the concerns that Gym for Change and others have around the concerns in gymnastics, and we are doing everything we can to address those.
More than 500 current and former gymnasts have been calling on Sport Canada to conduct an independent investigation. We touched on this into their sport. Now, there are claims of physical, psychological, and sexual abuse. So are there any records of those complaints at Gymnastics Canada?
No, I think that's been the challenge, is that we, of course, do have a very robust independent process to manage complaints through independent case managers. So I can assure everybody that any complaint that is brought into GymCan is managed effectively and quickly. through an independent process. So of course, we can only act on these issues when complaints are brought forward.
You suggested that you've known that there are issues within the organization, that it's not something new to that degree. Why is that? Why is that it's something that you've known for so long and still we haven't seen anything be done about it just yet?
Well, to be frank with you, I mean, I would argue that a lot has been done. I mean, change takes time, obviously, and this is a very broad sport in Canada. We have over 700 clubs and thousands, over 300,000 participants, and every day there are thousands of leaders in gymnastics doing very positive things for children and young adults in the sport. So, to be fair, there's a lot of good going on. Obviously, the fringe individuals who do take advantage of their opportunity to breach codes of conduct, obviously that's inappropriate, and those are things that we do our best, along with our member provinces and clubs, to identify and deal with.
You characterized the so-called individuals who may be carrying out bad acts as fringe individuals. There are certainly those people who accuse the organization of having a much deeper issue. Are you dismissing those accusations or allegations or concerns?
No, not at all. Maybe if you interpreted my word as fringe as different than what I intended. Obviously, my point really to say is that with the thousands of leaders that we do have that are doing good work, that's not something that's recorded, that's identified on a regular basis. But what is always a focus are those individuals who do take advantage inappropriately. And, unfortunately, sport is a microcosm of society, and there are elements of society that do take advantage in a sport environment, and we have to be very cognizant of that and very diligent in weeding it out and dealing with it effectively.
And how will the organization move forward when it comes to transparency to Canadians, who many may be learning about this, millions of dollars of taxpayer dollars going towards an organization where there are all of these troubling accusations? So where is the accountability? Where is the transparency?
Oh, it's a good question. And obviously, we have accountability both to our government and other funding agencies, and most specifically to our membership. So our board of directors and certainly myself as CEO are accountable every day for the actions that we do. And so, through proper due process, proper governance, effective boards, effective committees, that we're set up like many national sport bodies to manage a very broad environment and series of programming. And our accountability is in terms of what we do every day.
Right ahead of our conversation, we were listening to the Prime Minister, a clip from the Prime Minister earlier today, and he had said that it is very important to reassure parents the sport is safe for their kids and athletes. So what would you say to the parents? Can you assure their kids that this sport is safe, that their kids are safe?
Well, you're absolutely right. And as a parent myself, and my children have been in gymnastics, certainly as a parent, it doesn't matter which sport you choose for your children or your children choose for themselves. You have to do your due diligence before you put any children into sport. You have to make sure that you're checking on the status of the club in terms of its affiliations, its appropriate affiliations, that it's using coaches that are properly certified. And, you should take the time as a parent to view the environment that you're putting your child in. Certainly in gymnastics, two things that we always stress is you need to make sure that there's always viewing opportunities to watch your child at any practice or session. And of course, I think the main thing as a parent is to listen to your children, obviously in terms of their experience, and make sure that you're really connecting with them. They're the ones that obviously will tell you how they feel.
I couldn't help but sort of take away from your last response there that sort of the onus is on the parents and not the organization to ensure that children are safe. I mean, no question that any parent is very concerned about their child's safety, but shouldn't an organization where there are young children involved also feel a huge sense of that responsibility and burden?
Well, absolutely, and thank you for that clarification. I mean, certainly any leader involved in gymnastics goes through a very rigorous evaluation and screening process. So that's a very good point, that we do everything we can to ensure that anybody working in our environment, nationally, provincially, locally, meets all the proper, not only the coaching and leadership credentials, but also the safe sport and police check type needs.
Well, we appreciate you making time for us today. Certainly there will be many more questions, and I hope that you will be open to having that conversation with us again as we learn more. Thank you, Ian.
No, thank you, Arthi.
Ian Moss is the CEO of Gymnastics Canada. Thank you for joining us today.